Alright, here it is, your Eurorack demo. Just got finished recording the thing, so I'm just gonna pull everything real fast and we'll start from scratch, or sort of from scratch. I'll still have the sequences in there. All right. Okay, so start right here. What you got here? This is the sequencer. It's like a, same thing as like an MPC or something. And that's where I save the sequences for all the tunes. So I already have a whole song loaded on this sequencer here. So basically what you got going on is okay, so all these holes right here, this hole makes gates basically, which is just like a voltage that's sort of like, imagine if you have the MPC, right? And the MPC, you can send MIDI notes out through a MIDI cable, but it all happens in that one cable. So imagine that you had to send separate notes out to every synthesizer with a separate little cable. And you might ask, why would you want to do such a thing? And I might not have an answer for you. It's a thing that doesn't have an obvious appeal, but once you do it, it kind of makes some sort of sense to be able to do everything separately. So the way I set it up is I got one is going to be where the kick drum comes out. And so I got, let me just mute those tracks. So now if you see, I'll push play on the sequencer, and this is telling me that voltages are coming out of the sequence here. And that's helpful just to see that something's going to happen if I plug something in. So I know this right hole is for gates, and so a gate is a voltage that looks like this. I'll show you on this thing is called a what is it called? Oscilloscope. And basically, you can just plug in your cables and see what voltages are coming out. So when I unplug this, you get nothing. But when I plug it in, you can see what kind of voltages are coming out. This is what a gate looks like. It makes like a square wave, just an instantaneous, momentary thing. So what I want to do is I want to take that wave, so I know something's coming out of this cable here, and I want to go to my kick module. And this module, it's fully ready to make kick drum sounds, and it takes a trigger, which is similar to a gate, and you can see when I plugged in this here, see that little red LED right here, it starts flashing, and just realized I didn't hook up the sound, so here. That, and so now I got my gates coming out here, it's going down through the wire, it's coming into the kick drum, so I got a pretty good idea that this thing's going to make some sound coming out of here where it says out when I hook up a cable from the out. I take it over to the mixer here. This whole module, these two modules make a mixer that's very similar to the sort of mixer that you just like would see anywhere. It's got like, this is the gains. It has 6 channels, and then this is the EQs, 3 EQs, and then this is the pans, and then these are the effect sends. So very similar to a mixer you'd see somewhere else. So I like to put my kick in one so you can hear it there. see it's coming through. So push stop. Sequencer is not sending gates now. So now I'll make it send a gate. It's going through here. It's going to the kick drum module. Kick drum module is playing the sound. I can change what it sounds like. You know, and then I got all these little little options I can change. So the whole appeal of Eurorack is that you can very simply and obviously modulate all of these little extra parameters and stuff. So let's say I just want to change the tune of it. I can take, what I can do is this module here is called an LFO, this low frequency oscillator, which means all it does is make slow waves that are basically, a slow wave means a wave that's too slow to be heard if I put it through a speaker. So if we go back to our oscilloscope, we can see what kind of wave it's making right now. So it's making a triangle wave. Would you look at that? It's pretty slow, but you can see that red light above the red cable there, it corresponds with what the wave is doing. So I don't even need the oscilloscope to know what the wave is doing. So if I play my kick drum and then I put it in this input here says tune. And you know, that doesn't really sound like anything that a person would want to hear, but you know, it's just an example. This is now I put it in the decay, so it's short decay and then long decay, and that corresponds to that triangle wave that I put out there. So then you just kind of keep going down the line. Now 2 I always put in I put the snare in 2. So here's my snare module. So now you can see snare, and now I can take the sound out. So now you got a snare going and a kick. And then the snare has all types of different things I can modulate as well. So I just love drum synthesizers, which means that, you know, these aren't samples. The actual drum sound is being synthesized every time that I send it a trigger to give me a new sound. And so it never quite sounds exactly the same every single time. So it has like to me, it has an effect that's more like a real drummer, because, you know, a person playing a drum never sounds quite the same, but like a drum sample sounds the same every time you hear it in a track. And there's ways to like modulate that too, putting filters on it and everything. But, you know, I just think drum synthesizers are pretty cool. So I can take the same LFO that I had on my kick drum, changing the sound of the kick drum, and I can make it change the decay. I can make basically the wave, triangle wave, comes through the wire, it comes in here, and this base input basically makes it turn this knob. And this knob says, how much do you want to make it turn this knob? So I say, a lot. So you can change the sound of the, so again, it's kind of clunky sounding, but you can get very, you know, you can really get accurate with it. So let's keep going. All right, so then 3. And 3, I always put the hi-hat. So here's my hi-hat module, a very skinny module by a company called 2HP, which all of their modules are 2 HP wide. HP means horizontal pitch. This thing is 2 HP wide. Okay, and come out of here. Go into the mixer. Now I have a hi-hat. All coming through the mixer, which I already had sequences set up for. Now, that's the drums. And the synths are pretty similar, but a little bit different because you can't just send a gate to, or it would be the same note every time. So in 4 here, let's see, in 5, I've got bass line, so 5. So on the right hand output is the gate. So if I hook it up to, this is called the Make Noise No Coast right up here. This is a whole synthesizer module that has all these interesting ways to modulate it and make it sound good. So we'll plug it up here. So now we can see it's already affecting it. It's making those lights come on, but I haven't hooked it up to the mixer yet, so we can't hear what it's doing. Let's hook up that. Okay, hooking up to the mixer, channel 4. So as I said, all I did was hook a gate up to it. So it doesn't have, it's not getting the information. The mixer can also send information about what note to play, but it's not sending that information yet. So I have to go to this left hole here, and the left hole is sending voltages that relate to the pitches that I've recorded in the sequences. So that goes right here where it says 1 volt per octave. So now it can send gates and pitches. Now it's playing gates and pitches. I mean, that's pretty much how it goes. Like, then you just have different modules. Like, this is another synth module. It makes all kinds of different sounds that sort of sound like flutes and xylophones and stuff. This sounds like this is a whole synth module that sounds like very electronic. Has a wide, it's a digital module, so it can sound all kinds of stuff. This is a module that is just makes clap sounds, really great clap sounds, really weird clap sounds. And then there's just a much more advanced stuff, like that's really fun to mess around with. Like, for example, let's say, let's turn off everything except the kick here. So I have this module here. This is what makes so far I haven't done anything that you can't already do with the synthesizer and MIDI. So like, what's the point of this, you know? But there are a lot of modules that like aren't so common on synthesizers, and synthesizers are harder to program sometimes to get them to modulate in interesting ways. Obviously a lot of them already have LFOs, but it's sometimes hard to get anything beyond basic modulations, but not in this world where you can modulate anything that's in the module. But so for example, here is this is an interesting module here. So I'm going to take this gate. Let's just pull everything else out so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we have this gate. The flashing light is the gate for the kick drum. I'm going to put it in this module here, which is called branches. And what this module does is it takes a gate, and then depending on this knob here, it decides whether or not to send it out of this hole or this hole. And so if I put it in right now, it's all so right now it's all the way to the right, so that means that every gate that comes through is going to go through hole B. So what if I start pushing it back this way? Sometimes it doesn't come through. So it's maybe not obvious why you'd want to do this again, but like, it's really nice because, you know, when you're sequencing a track, sometimes you you have to come up with all these variations to keep it interesting. But this is a nice module that can help you come up with automatic variations, so it never sounds the same as you listen through. Here, check out this weird clap module. So it does so much weird stuff. Of course, you can modulate all these knobs too, so you could make this clap sound different every time you hit it in the song, just like a clap would be in a different kind of song where people actually clapped. So that is your basic tutorial. I hope that helps you understand somehow what's going on here and makes it not seem so ridiculous. I think it's pretty great.